The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good evening, everybody. I hope everybody's had a prosperous few weeks. I apologise, we couldn't really do anything last week. I had a number of hardware issues with my applications here, and in fact, I've still got some with a couple of my other PCs at the moment. Don't know what happened. It seems that everything got hit at the same time. However, I hope everybody had a chance to go through the disclaimer, as always. I wouldn't mind if giving me a heads up you can hear me properly. If someone can put their hand up, really appreciate it. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Yep, sounds good. Or looks good. I just move those hands. Okay, now I've got a bit of a list. I think since we missed out last week, a number of people want to make up with a few things. So I've got a number of stocks here. So I'll try to keep it at a moderate pace. Like I said, I hope everybody had a good chance to go through the disclaimer. Just reminding everybody that this is only general investment advice, not personal advice, as I do not know about anybody's personal circumstance. So it's just general investment advice. Okay, I'll switch over to applications. As usual, I will start off with the Dow Jones and then go through some of the key indices, gold and so forth, and then the shares, and finish off with the Aussie dollar. Just one sec. Okay. Okay, we should have the Dow Jones at the moment. Now, we got it on a monthly, and really, as can be seen, really from last month to this month, you can see there's not really that much of a change. It's just that little bar on the right-hand side there, and that's really it. We can see, again, just to reconfirm what we said in the past, we have a huge rising wedge. It has broken the rising wedge. It has finally been retesting that rising wedge. Again, I keep saying, from my perspective, this is just an opportunity to exit. Now, can this go straight down to where we put the target? Absolutely. Can it go sideways for a while? Absolutely. This is not about, as I keep saying, this is the short position. This is about, if we haven't exited the market already, this has given us opportunity to do so. That's looking at the Dow, not look at any other share, but in Australia, but just looking at the Dow. Okay, so basically, I'd be looking, where do I exit? Right now, I'm still in that little rally up. Yes, it can go high. In fact, if you look at it, it can probably go as high as to touch this blue, basically originally support, now resistance line. Let's move into the weekly. As can be seen, just one sec. As can be seen from the weekly, this is on the weekly wedge. You can see where that is. This is just huge sideways. So it came, retested this, and went on the upside. And really, technically speaking, as we said, we can actually even put this right there. Okay, if you really wanted to, you can actually touch. Now, we chose to break it, to close it there on the red line. And we can see it's really pretty much on the red line there. So if we just remove this blue, just to redefine that a bit better, in other words, what we're doing is we're cloning the line. We're cloning this line and moving it up. We can see it's in a small channel, basically. And it is support. In other words, because it rallied back above this, so hit it and bounced back above it, it has respected this line. Okay, now remember the original green left a bit of a tail here, so we cut that tail because we went to the bottom of the red. Because the green is a reversal, so a higher price, we can cut that tail, and sure enough, it actually supported and respected this line, at least up till now. What we really should also do is extend this line here more forward. Okay, extending it all the way there, because that's basically the top. And really, where this is, we can draw a line roughly to that point there, right across, and that's pretty much where this is gone. It's pretty close to a double top. not far from it. You can probably almost consider that a double top. Can it go higher to this level? Absolutely can. Okay, so right now, like I said, this is not about taking short positions. This is about exiting any long positions if you haven't as yet. Okay, so we have a second chance. This is all I've been saying for how many weeks? Well, I was looking for a rally, and we can see this rally is happening, which is good, giving you a second breather. Now, I've never actually seen any major downturns during a Christmas period, okay? Not saying that cannot happen, but I've not seen it myself. So one should wonder, are we going to see any major turn before Christmas? You know, you need to question it. Myself, I don't believe we will, but this is just my opinion. It's not technicals. I still trade technicals, but it's my opinion that I don't think we'll see it before Christmas. I think we'll see more sideways than anything else. Looking on the daily, again, we were looking at this as a flag initially here, and we had a target, didn't quite reach it, came back down, rallying back up. Can we go from here? Cutting the tails there. You can sort of draw it like that, but that's about it. Can it come back down and bounce? Absolutely, but we have to move this line. Is that not right anymore? This was a potential brick wall, had to break through to continue on. If we take this and put it there, because it had enough swing, we can say, is it going to stop here? Is it going to go through? If it does, it's probably going to go and retest this here. Because this is pretty much didn't quite get there and it's gone back down enough, we can actually erase this from the top there, and it's gone now. That doesn't apply anymore. And what we're looking at is, look, we're seeing, I'll just realign this a little bit just from here. What we're seeing is almost like a huge symmetrical triangle. Okay, not a very clean one because they haven't quite touched. If these touched, I would say fantastic, but they haven't. So it looks like a big triangle, and getting closer to here, it'll break one way or the other. I suspect it really should break down to the downside, but you know, if it breaks to the upside, I still see this as a huge brick wall. Just time will tell. Again, I look at this as an opportunity to get the hell out of there if I was trading any other stocks on the Dow Jones. It's not short positions. I cannot stress that enough. This is not short positions. Okay, next one, we're going to look at S&P 500. Well, realistically, do you really expect to be much different to what we've seen on the Dow? Unlikely. Again, huge rising wedge, fantastic rising wedge. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you know, fantastic rising wedge. And again, we're seeing this retest. And in this case here, it almost hit a double top there, okay? Again, it's still part of the retest. Okay, so this is now, if this breaks down to the downside, comes back down here and breaks to the downside, we don't only have a rising wedge, we also have a huge double top. Again, huge reversal pattern. Okay, so again, reinforcing what the Dow's done. Let's have a look here. And again, pretty close to the top, so it's really considered a top, double top. And we can technically have this line here from there, touching all these. As you can see, it's touching here, all the way across. Huge consolidation, huge consolidation. We can technically now also remove this and that. It really is, that's what it looks like. Now, yeah, it can have a bit of a support this area, but let's wait and see before we draw more lines. So you can see this is in a consolidation phase right across. It's been there, as you can see, for many, many weeks. Many, many weeks. I mean, if you look at it where it started from down here somewhere, where to now, you're talking about 39 weeks. Okay, 39, it's a damn long time. Huge consolidation phase, and usually when this is over, there's overall quite a large move. So this is what I would like if I was looking for a short position. That's what I'd be looking for, something like that. Obviously, I'll be looking at personally closer to home and see what stocks are in that type of scenario. Again, out of this flag, this was the target, didn't quite get there like the Dow, and giving that a second go at the moment. look, this is almost equal bottoms here. Let's just draw a parallel line there. Almost equal bottoms. It's considered, on a daily as a double bottom, but it's obviously very tight to where it is. This is only a daily. Just get rid of that. I don't think that's going to go anywhere, actually. Let's just double check it. No, it does nothing. It was great up to this point, but it really does nothing there. So it really is invalid right now. It's pretty much how it stands. Let's have a look here. Like so. It really is a very, very wide trading range at the moment. And you can also, like we did on the Dow, we can do that. Just one sec, sorry. One of the other laptops just started up. Oh, sorry about that. Decided to just start up. Okay, so now we really can't add any more to this. You can see if it's going up, this will be its brick wall anyway. Again, as we looked at it from a weekly perspective, major top. I can't see it doing much more than what it's done. Very limited upside. Then I guess if it drags out till, towards Christmas, I'd be looking, how's it going to look? Is there going to be any shorting opportunities from the top end here? And remember, you want a confirmation. You want to see, a bearish flag or something in order to say, okay, I've got downside here. Because that's when I would start considering the shorting side, probably in the new year or right at, maybe at the end of this year, closer to Christmas, maybe it'll start show, some signs of getting ready. But more likely, I would say in the new year more than anything else. Like I said, in all the years, I don't think I've ever seen it doing anything like that. Gold. Again, when we look at gold, trend line down, it really is struggling hard. That's how long-term down it still stands. I mean, if it breaks above here and closes above there, then I would start saying, yeah, the downturn must be over. We can see more detail on the weekly shortly, but overall the monthly saying, look, it's still more down than up. If anything, we can't really put a flag per se, but it really, because it's not very clean, like so. Actually, it might be all right. Remember, this has got to close like this, okay? So this is only valid if it closes. You'd be looking at not the cleanest flag, but again, just reiterating that target. As long as it closes that way, where would it fail if it does? On even bottoms. Okay, I'll just put a little line there on even bottoms. If it turns around here, then I can say, you know what, it tried and he failed. But that's what I'd be looking at. On the weekly, you can see the issue that you got is originally on the weekly, we have a support line here. And that's where the issues become. We have a major top, if I remember correctly, if we draw it from here, look, it's sort of like that. On the monthly, looking at that, that's where the brick wall is, and then on the weekly here, as we see it from the bottom, that's where the brick wall is. You can see it's trading there. The fact is, what we're seeing here is also a falling wedge. It's really quite weird, this, because you can see on the monthly, it was in fact, let's have a look at it. A bit of a mare's tail. Look, here's the monthly. You can see this line, that lines that go around that way. That's part of a mare's tail. And you can see it's also broadening. It's widening up, suggesting potential price target. Then we go to weekly and we're saying, you know what? I've got brick walls everywhere. I've got brick walls to the top. I've got brick walls to the bottom. They're really got to close below here to make any sense. So it really is a very confused, I think there's a lot of confused traders basically, because that's all price action is people's actions, okay? And we can see they trying to break it up that way, failed, trying to break it down this way, failed. So that's what we got to look at. In cleaning this up a little bit, we can delete this because that failed to the upside. Remember, there was a potential bullish flag, but it didn't follow through. So what we really got is if we clone this line, oops, what have I done? Sorry, let's start again. Clone this line, you can see, all right, it's in a parallel and it broke below. But again, when you look at this, here's your brick wall up, brick wall down. The only way you're going to say, you know, it's breaking on the downside, it's got to break and close below on the weekly at least. And then if it goes back up, it's got to break above this line, literally. So gold, if you're going to go short, you really got to close below this, then take a short position. Mixed bag. Daily, all the dailies reflecting is the same. We can see it broke below here. We had a target on the upside, and did we have a? We didn't put a target on the downside at the time, but primarily the down target is from there to here to its breakout point, and there it is there, which literally puts it below that line on the weekly. But because the brick wall's there, you really look. If I went short here, I'd be holding it at the moment. But if I haven't gone short and you're saying, do I go in now? No. You need to go below the weekly line. That's the only time it's going to be safe. Okay, below the weekly line. So I would only go short if this closes below, and this is we get a bearish flag at the same time in some way, then we're looking at a down target. Till such time, I'd leave it alone. A very confused market. That's all I can say. Very confused market. XJO. Monthly. Okay, that's what we said. We broke below. It's in that market, but what we're doing remember, this is October, this is November, and we said we're looking for a flag. Let me just clean that up a little bit, and realign it a bit. Oh, that was like so, and that's like so. Just re-clean that and delete that and clone the bottom one. All I've done is I've gone to the bodies. You really want to close below these to be comfortable. And even then, you'd be worried, to be blunt, that if it fails, it'll follow that level there. I'll just take the values off so you can see the lines. So even though we can see this wants to go down, it really is quite messy. And I keep saying is we're coming up to Christmas. And I don't know if anyone's seen any major downturns at Christmas, but I've been in this industry, since, what about 30 odd years, 35 years. And I don't think I've seen small downturns, but nothing serious at Christmas. Usually we get the Christmas rallies more than anything else. So I'd be surprised. I'd say there's more consolidation here before any moves to the downside. Let's look at the weekly, see if it might tell us a little bit more. And here we are on the weekly. Again, the way I'd see this is probably, I'm only cutting one, but I'm touching 1, 2 there across. I see this as more as a broad information. Can I get it even from there? That's cutting back on that, so I'd say it's more valid. Here, I'd see this as a broad information. If this rallies to the top line here, it'd be better. What that basically will do is it will confirm. Let's just take this line here. I can realign that line to like so. I'm only cutting one there, and this is after it because it reversed and it's gone higher than this bar. Okay, so it's actually engulfed that bar, so you can cut it, you can go straight to the red. Now, I'll need to delete that, and let me have a look. Can that be moved at all to make more sense at all? I don't think so, but Let's have a look to here. Oh yeah. I can technically, look, here we are there. It's what you call a sandwich, not the cleanest at this level, but it's almost respects it there. It doesn't give it a lot of weight. What really gives it the weight, in fact, I'll probably remove this. It doesn't give it that a lot, but a little bit, but it looks cleaner if we, just let me have a look at one more here. That's cutting a lot. Let's have a, let me squeeze it up a bit more. Where are you? Do it that way. Don't think it's going to work, but let's give it a shot. How does that look on the monthly? That actually will work on the monthly. Actually, this will be validated on the monthly. Can I take it high is the question. To the body. Okay. I can actually take it there. What I've done is I'm cutting 1, 2, 3, then actually too many, 4, 5, and that's way too many. Sorry. Again, 5. No, it's cutting too many. That would be the safer one. You got 1, 2, 3 definites, and you're cutting 2. But again, if I had to put a value on it, I'd only give it about a 65 out of 100. I can leave it there for now. I think we'll need to wait and see. But at the end of the day, let's go back to where we were. That was on the weekly, wasn't it? Trying to do this one here. See, on the weekly, it's not too bad. You're cutting that, but it's not too bad. I'll put it back, I think. I'd say you can probably fit it just about there. It's a little bit under where you want it, but it's about the cleanest you're going to get it. And switch to on. In there, yep. Okay, that's the best we can do. Now, looking at this, what is it telling us? We've got pretty much consolidation. That's pretty clear. Ideally, it would be nice if this can rally and hit the top. It will give it more weight. Now, if this can do this, this is a weekly, so if we can have this over the next couple of weeks to that level, you know, that will sort of almost the premise of the pre-Christmas rally. Now, would it go straight down? I honestly don't know. I'll be looking at the daily and seeing if there's any bearish flags, but what is clear is once this dotted line that we're struggling trying to get the best possible fit, once that actually clearly breaks through that and closes well and truly, I think we will get a decent trend reversal to the downside. When you look at this, of course, look, there's your 6,000 points. Look, we're down to, 5,000 it hit there. Well, there's your 1,000 points already. So seeing a bit on the upside would be pretty good. Looking at the, excuse me, on the daily, again, following these lines lower. That was, we can do it from here. Again, that's your broad information. The bottom line is, if this eventually does, if it decides to break through and goes more to the upside, well, what we're going to get is basically maybe half of the run back up, which is up here somewhere again, which again, this will be this brick wall. So I keep saying is I've never in 30 odd years, nearly 35 years in this industry, I've always seen Christmas rallies. I've really rarely have I seen a downturn. Yeah, it slows down a bit because people go on holidays and so forth, but most of the time you see upside rather than downside. So I still say this is an opportunity to exit the market. And if this gives us an opportunity till Christmas and maybe part of January or early February, we might see the turnaround around as late as that. And then we start seeing more downside. So again, I keep stressing it. I personally would be using this to exit the market, not re-enter it. And when I see an opportunity to take options, that's what I personally will be looking at. I don't want to add any lines from underneath as a triangle yet. I want to see if it goes past this point or breaks or stops at this point or breaks beyond it. I think that will actually give us a clear picture of what's going on. Okay, we'll start on the shares. Excuse me. Someone asked a question, sorry. 1 second, somebody asked a question. Okay, I'll SGH. Someone's asked if I can do also SGH. I'm trying to keep it to a certain time frame. I'll try to do all these. I'll leave SGH. I'll put it to the list at the end, and I'll do it. But just in case people want to rack off around, trying to keep to the schedule, but I will do it for you. Okay, ANZ. Again, here's ANZ. We had a bearish flag. We did a target. We've got a down target. Remember where the major support is. Rising wedge here again. It's got a tail at the moment. I would say if you had a short from up there, fantastic. But remember, Christmas rally. So yes, it can go back up here and recontinue again. But you can see from this overall, ANZ is on the way down, but we are getting we could have a rally to the upside pre-Christmas at the moment. That's what the monthly shows. On the weekly, we hit a target down here, as we've seen. That was the weekly target that we had. We clicked it here. It's reversing at the moment. Remember the head and shoulders? Shoulder, head, shoulder. Broke to the downside. There's its target. Hit it. At the moment, we're looking for direction, and again, I'm looking at this pre-Christmas rally, so hopefully that's what it's doing at the moment. There is nothing here to say how much this can go to the upside at the moment. So let's go to daily if there's anything. Someone lost audio I got on the thing there. Can you put hands up if you got audio? Can someone put the hands up if they got audio? Hello. Okay, no problems. Okay, so, okay, you got it either right. Hands up, fantastic. Someone says audio keeps cutting out. I apologise. It might be something on your side, so I don't know what to say at the moment. I've just asked people if they got audio, and most of them put hands up at the moment, so I'm assuming on my side it's okay. Sorry about that. Looking at the daily, look, what we see on the daily is right at the end here, clone, very tight. So from here to there, just break out, and 12 values. The target is at 27.64 at the moment. I really don't have any other target here. If we try to clean things up a little bit, just let me move some of these. If we can draw some additional lines, if we're looking at points of resistance, this is where we are. If this can stop around here, if it breaks, that's the next point. In fact, that's all you can really do on anything like this. I guess put it this way. So what you've got is you're pretty much in this trading area, trading on the downside, but we had a short-term target. It's nearly there. If you saw it earlier, like 3 days ago, you could have taken a short-term trade, but that's basically it. There really isn't anything to take any major long side. I keep saying out. Yes, there's going to be some short-term trades if you're trading an intraday, like a 180-minute, 60-minute chart. Even some dailies, you can do something. Like if you're looking at this on a 180-minute or 60 minutes and then looking at the daily, yeah, you've got a decent trade and picked up a few bucks, $2-3, and that's about it. There's nothing really big. I mean, I keep saying to anyone, any opportunities you got is really to exit the market. There's no real big moves on the upside. I can't see any ever since, again, shoulder, head, shoulder. I mean, this is what we look at as a reversal here. We just do it like that. Look. Technically, you can probably run all the way to this point here, but then that just reaffirms the head and shoulder. That's all that is. If it gets there and you're in it, I'd take the money out. Again, not personal advice. CBA. Again, is this a bearish flag for another target further down? I don't know. Here's the rising wedge. Look, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then a break. You got 5 touches, which pretty much reinforces your rising wedge. We did have a retest on the upside here for a little bit, which is great. We're still getting a bit of upside. Is this going to be another flag? Is it going to do something else for another downturn? I don't know. But again, if you're still long with this, if this is giving you another opportunity to get out, that's all it's doing. So look for the best possible exit point. That's the way I'd be looking at this also. Looking at the weekly, again, head and shoulder, which is again a reversal. Shoulder, head, shoulder, neckline. Coming for a retest. He never really retested the head and shoulders. We look at this, Your flag, not the cleanest. Again, although the price target will be higher up there, I would only look to trade it to this line here, okay? So that's where it is. If it does break that line, again, where are we here? The neckline, that's the neckline, okay? Retesting the neckline. It never did it here. So upside again is minimal. All right, that's what I'd be doing. Upside is minimal. Get the opportunity, get the hell out of there. Daily, again, that's the basically down line, the resistance line. Here's your neckline. So obviously when you look at that, which one's going to be hit first? There it is there. It might go to that level. It can, because that's part of the neckline. Again, I would be looking for an opportunity to get the hell out of there again. So if it gives you the opportunity, you're in there and you're saying, why am I doing there? Well, get the hell out of there. That's what it is. NAB. Again, rising wedge, retesting it. Again, this is also horn formation. Okay, retesting it. Neckline again. You retested it already, by the way. And this is a huge horn or broadening formation on that basis. It's just come again to this level. It's already did the neckline, shoulders, head, shoulders, retest the neckline, and this down target is from here directly below to its breakout point, and that's where its overall target is. It was on its way there, and it did a reversal at that point on the weekly. But let's look at it at the daily if it gives us any additional information. We're here now. I'll just leave the first one on. That's a secondary one. Again, you got your low, you got your high, you got a higher low, and that broke to the upside, closing the gap there. But it really doesn't give you much more than that. It's not something that I can see a trade here. Yeah, I can't see a trade there. Yes, it can go as high as that, but again, that's resistance. This is its neckline. It went a little bit past its neckline for 2 days. I would have been sweating if I was short on that and saying, what in the hell's going on? But it made up for it after that. It's not giving you any more. On this one here, if I see it up there and I'm long, again, I get the hell out of there. Again, not personal advice. IAG. Monthly first. Again, shoulder, head, shoulder. It actually, I think the first one hit, actually. So double check that. There. No, that's actually lower. It's that one there. We thought maybe it'll make a bearish flag. It didn't. That's the thing with it. So obviously we wouldn't have gone short. And what do we got here? So that's still a horn. That's quite messy, actually. I'll delete one. Just leave one there. I think I'll do a downtrend on the weekly. Makes more sense. It is there. This one's a bit confused. I think at the moment I need to watch this a little bit more. Again, this is weekly. Let's see if it actually closes above. Where's it going to close? Below tomorrow, being Friday. And then we'll look at it from there, I think. I can't really make a decision on this one. On the daily, It gave us the target there, but I'm surprised on this move. I don't know what's going on this one, if there's any news out on it, but I think I'd like to see tomorrow's close if it actually reverses back down. Because if it hasn't, which I'd be very surprised if it doesn't, let's go back to the weekly. We can't say that's actually the bottom of the trend at the moment. We need more data. If this actually goes past this point, I would have to put a line underneath as a trend line. But I can't do that unless it creates a new high from there, because that's the last time you consolidate it. So it really needs to go past this point. If it goes past this point and closes above there, then I can actually draw a line like that, but I can't do that. And technically there's nothing there that can tell me that would do that. I can see there's a major point here, it's above it, but it can easily close tomorrow below it. So we'll have to wait and see. I hope there's enough information for that, but that's all I can actually give technically. BHP. We've got targets to there. You can see even there's a $13 and $12 target on the mare's tail. It's barely touched that this month. It's pretty close, but we'll have to wait and see more. This still stands. It's still valid. On the weekly, we can see on the weekly, it went through its targets based on what we did out of this pattern. And again, this has got an accelerated downtrend, so it's really like so. There's nothing more to add to it, really. Daily. We'll have to see what the pattern this turns out to be. I have no idea yet. I'm looking for a pattern. Hopefully it'll give me another down pattern from here, but I can't say it will. We need to see. If you're already short, great, from the previous weekly. If not, you're going to have to wait and see. If you were a lot earlier, you could have, like on this one here, that's a bearish flag. So anyone that took that, you would have been fine, but there's nothing at the moment I can say confidently as yet. Or that's not. Stop there. Not clean yet. It's nice to watch it, see what happens tomorrow. If it closes below here, then this could validate it, but I'd watch it tomorrow first. AMP. Could this be a bearish flag? I don't know. I think we'll have to watch it, and if it is, we can do a down target, but let's wait and see what that turns out to be. I've got no idea yet. Potentially can be, but it can always be something else if you don't watch it. See, this is interesting. It might look bearish on the monthly, but on the weekly, could it be bullish? So this can target up, and on the monthly it can be a total flag the other way. So either way, one of them is going to fail, and it's just a matter of which way it goes, and that's the way you trade it. It can have, if you look at this, it can have, if it breaks up, be careful to this level here. Okay, if it's going to fail, because there's a major sandwich here. You see it's brick wall there, brick wall downwards, brick wall upwards. So you need to be very, very careful. Look, anything's possible here, because this can technically consolidate for the 5, 6, 7 weeks here. And what if you go if it breaks down? Shoulder, head, shoulder, the other way. So you really just need to watch it very careful. Again, this is not something that I would trade to the upside. If I'm still in, I would only look, when the hell do I get out? I cannot stress that enough. You need to be really careful how you do this, because it's all on major crossroads. I think it's downside, and that's the way I'd be trading it. I'll look and where do I get out if I'm still in. Personally, I wouldn't be there. I'd be just looking for opportunities to the downside. I've been asked a number of times, would you short there? And I keep saying, I personally would not. I want it cleaner than that. Look, for the past how many weeks we've been watching, it's messy. I know we're heading towards Christmas. I can see it. It's getting messy. And if I wasn't in already from a while ago, on the short side, remember we were talking about how long ago, for those that have been following it probably for the past 4 or 5 months. If I wasn't in it from then as a long-term short, I wouldn't be in it at all at the moment. All right, so just trade very safely. You're looking at the AMP daily. I mean, again, what do we got here? Like brick wall. It could be consolidating like that. Which way is it going to break? You know, which way is it going to break? Just, again, I'll stress the point very carefully. Trade very carefully right now, because it is at crossroads. We are coming up to Christmas, and we usually do get a Christmas rally. How big is that going to be? I honestly don't know. It might just fizzle out and does nothing. CSL. Originally hit the target. Personally, again, I would have, at the top of the rising wedge around here, I would have gotten the hell out of there. That's just me, of course. Everybody's got different risk tolerances. So the target was hit. Let me just remove the target from there. What is it telling us? You know, if we draw just a previous high, is it just going to retest it again? I honestly just upside again, like from my perspective, I think it's minimal compared to the downside. If we start at the bottom here as an accelerated trend, so you can see even now if we do that, we were at crossroads here. You can see a bit below, a bit above. It's not something that you'd want to trade now. Sorry, got rid of the wrong one. I think the last thing you want to do is get caught up in the middle of something and has a damn sharp fall because being near the top. And then you're talking about the bottom of this line is around the 79 mark. It's a long way away. So again, personally, I wouldn't. That's just me. I wouldn't jump in the bandwagon on that. Again, I try to get where you can draw this line from. I'm cutting the candles. So again, that's me. I wouldn't trade this. I would have got near the top here. I would have taken my money away. Look, we had a bull hook, and that gave us that target that I just crossed out before. I reckon anywhere near the top, I would have taken my money and move on. That's me again. But everybody's got different risk tolerances. And looking at this, this is a huge, huge rising wedge, and I think it's near the top. Can it go a bit high? Look, anything's possible. We are in towards Christmas, like you keep saying, it's Christmas rally, but I wouldn't be too eager to jump in. That's me. You know, short-term intraday, by all means. But That would have been quite scary in here for how many weeks? All right. In fact, I'd just remove that line. Just leave it there for now. Yeah, there's support there. And from here, like so. I really can't add anything else in. I wouldn't be too eager, that's all. Unless you know something that I don't. That's hot to trot, different story, but I don't know anything else of it. I really can't add much to that. Look at the daily. I really can't add. Not very clean. Not clean at all. Not the cleanest. It's the way it is anyway. I don't know what else to add to this, sorry to say. Move on. The next one, haven't looked at this for a while, MFG. And give it a moment to get the data. As I said, I haven't looked at this for a while. Okay. Okay, monthly. We originally hit the targets. Actually, interesting. Clone. And extend this line. What would happen if we did that? And I'll remove some of the targets that we had. So the last target was at around 22. And right now, it's broadening out, you know, that way and that way. So I'd say there's a brick wall just about here. If it breaks this brick wall, you're looking at a lot higher. All I did, by the way, for the top line, what you've got, you can see this line here, it's cloned out of this one, and that became support. Because that became support, you can actually clone this line and put it to its previous body and candle. Because it's got two touches that way. If you take it to the top of this line, it's only got one touch. So it's parallel to that, and technically if it goes past this point, that's what you would definitely expect as a next move to. So we'll have to look at the weekly and see how that looks like also now. Let me just crush that up for a minute. That's what we did before. So we went from there, cut across, that became resistance. Now that became support. If we clone that, where are we here? That was that. So basically, sandwiched in there, pretty almost close to that. But at the same time, from that, if it's going to do anything, that's what you'd be looking at the next spot as point of resistance. And just remove that. And that target further away was out of this pattern here from consolidation, and that was to the top. Actually, is there anything from underneath too? What would happen if I went? See, it's also supported that way. Quite interesting, actually. Quite interesting. So it's sandwiched both ways. Does it clone that way? It's past that point, so which is good. Well, actually, this is quite interesting because it's past that point, and as long as it closes above this point, okay, you can actually go click, click, now if we extend that way a bit, I'd say if this continues up, it might go sideways for a while till it actually gets pretty close to the target. So it's something that I'd be holding if I had it at the moment. I definitely would be holding it. Go into the daily. Highest body. That'll be the target of the daily. I hope that's helpful. That was MFG. Next one is BLD. Monthly, haven't looked at this for a very long time, Boral. Looks like a rising wedge and a retest at the moment, doesn't it? It's a pity it's only got one really, I know it's got 3 candle touch here, but it's really an overall 2 touch. If this is a truly retest, we don't know. And if I clone that, if this is a bearish flag, then we'll have a down target. Look, I'll do the target, but I'll remove it just to let you know. Click at the top of the flag to the body, to its estimated breakout, and obviously would only, if it is, I'll only go to this line. That's will be my brick wall. So if that is a bearish flag, and at the end of the day, this month could finish and a new month can start there and another month there. So, and it'll still be a bearish flag. Okay, so really just got to watch it. Let's look at the weekly anyway. Really, you know, looking at, if I draw on that, like so, and I do that, that's still considered a double top, okay? And then you can see there's the retest and fail, and this could go sideways for a while. Also, if this went more sideways up here, then breaks down, this technical could be a head and shoulder. Even though it's got 2 heads, it still be considered one head, shoulder, and a neck shoulder on that side. That's what I'm saying. I think this, looking at this market could have an upswing and up and sideways swing for maybe for another month to 2 months, maybe even 2.5, 3 months. So that's why I'm a bit saying, just don't be impatient to short. Just be very careful we need confirmation to the downside. We haven't really seen, only on a handful of stocks if you took a while ago. Again, this, you can actually go like that, and we clone. Could be a bearish flag. I don't know yet. Obviously not very clean with that there, but it could be. This could go again, like I said, sideways for a while. I'd be watching it. It's also important, if this goes higher, you can technically draw a line like that also. And for a potential, and I use the word potential, let me just get the thing, for potential, and potential more down this end. Okay, so I'll remove that for now, but just to make my point, that was. Okay, so very, very careful. Daily. Look. Basically, it's broadening out. That's all I can really say about it. Can't do much more than that. For those that have it, just like I said, I hope it all goes well to the upside, gives you an opportunity to exit. That's all that does. Actually, one more thing, because this is a double top, your target, oh, sorry, delete that, is from the top here to there, to its breakout. So there's your target. I'll leave that there, that stands. TLS. Everything stands as it is. We can see it's already did 1, 2, hit 3 of the targets already. There is a 4th potential target, but if I was in already, I'm probably inclined to hold it. It depends what my weekly and daily said. Generally, when major targets get hit, usually there is a bounce, and sometimes it pays to get out and re-short again. Let's have a look if there's any information that told us that. We could have, out of this flag, all right, and there's this pole, basically there, and that's its target there. If I've seen this engulfing pattern, I would get the hell out of there when you engulfs another candle. Means it's hit a target and it's engulfing that candle. So I would have exited, made a nice little bit of money there. I would have exited out and looking for another short position. Okay, that's what I would have done. But you can see this there's the high, there's the low, there's the lower high, there's the lower low, there's a lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low. Let's see if this is going to be a lower high. So you can see the trend is down and there is lower targets. On a daily, again, what we were looking at, where are we here? That's the most targets we had. Again, when you see this reversing, you get the hell out of there. You did have, sorry, there's your flag, there's your pole, there's your target. When you see that rest reversing in your target, your weekly one already hit, you should be getting the heck out of there. And where are we here? This trend overall, you can see it's continuing down, like so. Sorry. That's where that is now. So you are in that channel also. Let's see what happens tomorrow. We got Santos and Woodside Petroleum next. We'll do Santos first. We can see all my monthly targets are hit and beyond. So these were the real shorts out of these big patterns. All right, that's what I'm saying. Position is fantastic. If you could have done it, you can see you could have cleaned up. We would have got this better off the weekly, and you can see it was almost from $10 down to, I don't know if you would have got $3, but you probably would have got $4. There's a $6 move option would be fantastic. That's the maximum targets off the monthly. Let's look at the weekly. Eh? And this was a mare's tail, of course, also. So not the best drawer here, people. It's supposed to go like that, but anyway. There you go. It's down there where the joint is before it goes down. And the most we could do for that, that would have been the target off those two. I couldn't have done any more on that actually. And the daily, my lines had moved here, I don't know why. Actually, just squash it a bit. Or we can say it's in the channel. Can't really add more than that either. I certainly wouldn't be going long on this. That's all I do know. Obviously, there's major problems with Santos. I can't get any lower targets at the moment. There's no pattern that tells me a lower target at this point. Not that I can see at the moment, at least anyway. There really isn't, no. We'll have to wait and see for this one. How about Woodside? That just pretty much came close to our target. Really hasn't done much, has it? Let me just erase this so I can see a bit better. I don't know what's going to do there, to be honest. I don't know if there's a pattern there. There might be a pennant. Hard to tell yet. I think when we do get the next candle and this is closed, I can draw a line. Till then, I really can't. Let's have a look at the weekly. There's the mare's tail here, and these were the targets off the mare's tail. Broadening formation. Look, what I can see here, if this weekly closes the way it is, it really is a nice engulfing here, which is really quite solid. But I can't really add anything. It would be nice if we see this rally to at least up here somewhere. It would be fantastic. And if the rest of the market does it, I suspect that will also. But I really cannot add much more than that to this. The only thing we can probably add on this weekly chart is an accelerated downtrend here. Okay, now that might be a brick wall, all right, and if that comes off instead, we can then might do this. But we really got to see, for this line to be valid, we have to see more in here. Then we can see it's making like a symmetrical triangle, and then are we going to see short-term bottom on Woodside Petroleum, or is it going to break further to the downside? And that is what we've got to look at. Is it going to break above it and hit back the previous brick wall, which is right on the top trend line coming down, or is it going to consolidate and break down and go to a new low? So we'll have to wait and see what it does in this area here. That's where we're looking at this point there. It broke below, but really what we've done is we just shifted that there. And again, wait and see what happens. Look, realistically, when we put this line this way, all we had is really this. In fact, just to have a look at, let me just show you to explain that. All we did is made an assumption. We said, look, we'll put it there and see, because it tested going up, because it tested it here, it might be good enough. But all there were these small kinks for a few days. You really got to see moves to where it really belongs. Sometimes you get lucky, but now you can see this had a solid up, that had a solid down. If now this goes back to around here, it's what we call a solid up. Therefore, this definitely belongs there. Okay. Worst case, if it actually comes low and stops at the bottom of this, then it becomes a parallel line. So it'll be one of the two. What we're looking at to see it where it's serially going to consolidate. What it can do, obviously, if it continues to go up, that'll be the next brick wall is here at those levels. Again, you just got to see how it's going to play out. Again, if I'm holding this, I'd be worried. If I see it up there, again, I might be looking to exit it rather than that if I'm holding it already. Okay. MNS. Can't remember what MNS is actually. Excuse me. What we added in last time is this a potential bullish flag? We don't know. Or a pennant. Let's wait and see. All right. It's broken above. Out of it, if it does break above, that would be its target, what we said. That still stands. And that was also part of the bull hook too. Looking at on the weekly, we did a potential little triangle out here. Which way is it going to break, up or down? We did a few things there. If it broke to the downside, well, let me just clean it up a little bit. We said if it was making sorry, no, we didn't say that's not a flag or anything. If it broke to the upside, it didn't. Then it would be higher prices. We hit the original target, and it didn't break to the upside, so let's just clean it up and redo it. How many bars are there? $13. Well, if it breaks out tomorrow, this is still quite valid, and it'll be a bullish flag to the upside. Okay. Is there any uptrend lines here also? Probably from there. How about if I take it one lower? Then you got 1, 2, 3. Well, that validates it anyway. So let's see if this validates it from there. Daily. That broke to the downside, and we said we had a price target up or down. Well, hit the down target. What can we do? So let's just rearrange that like so. So we have 1, 2, 3, Now the fourth touch. Let's clone that, see what it does. Well, that makes it still quite valid, like we did before with the flag. Which way is it going to break? If it breaks to the upside, this might be a nice little flag. Didn't make it the nicest looking, but anyway. That means from here to there, and there's your target up. Obviously now, this target is not valid because this one was validated, okay? And that's not valid anymore. So which way? Is it going to break to the upside? If it does, that's its next target. And then you can look at this as a big flag when you look at the weekly, not the daily. Okay, so if this breaks above that, you got that target. And in addition, if it gets to that target, the next target from there is that, like that. But only if it gets to the first one, goes past this, okay? Only if that. That's all you can do. That was MNS. Next one, SHV. Oh, might help if I click in there, eh? Okay. On the monthly, this stands as it was we discussed last time. Major support there, hit the first target. Let's remove that now, that's long gone. Is this going to be a bullish flag? I don't know, but if it is, then you'll have a huge up target. We are in this channel, and it's respecting this channel thus far. Try to go below it during the month, but it gets back above it. So again, I really can't add anything till that occurs. Is it going to break up or is it going to break down? We need to wait and see. On the weekly, in fact, on the weekly, what we did see is break down. However, let me just clean it up a little bit. Now, 1, 2, 3 touches, and it's still inside this little bit. Not very helpful, to be honest with you. It'd be nice to have clear direction. We still don't have it because this is support, but this is a brick wall. So even though it's good on the monthly, it's stuffed on the weekly. So I'd seriously be very careful here. If it fails, this could fall away very quickly if it fails. Just please be careful with this. As we saw on the monthly, it's gone in there holding its ground, but on the weekly it is not. So very, very careful. Looking at the, what have I got here? Let me just redo this. Not the cleanest, not the cleanest. So no. Yeah, you can't even do that. Can't really draw that. It did really belong like that, but it's stuffed now for the bottom. It's not respecting it anymore. It's not really respecting that anymore. However, it's respecting that. Oops. In there. Just touch, 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 touch. Okay. It's right on the line. You really got to watch it at the moment, very careful. I can't comment anymore because it's really, this is a green candle to the upside. Can I do this? Look, the truth is if it breaks above that, that could be valid. But I can't really call it valid yet until it actually breaks above that and closes above there. I'll leave it as it is for now, but this is not a very strong line unless it technically breaks and we say, yeah, well, it broke the strong line, so yeah, that must be okay. But that's the only way I would consider it. The next one is SMA. As we said, that's the target up there. If it's going to have struggle, it's going to struggle at the previous high. It's doing that. We can't really add more than that when it comes to that. We go to the weekly. We still stand by the targets. There's nothing to say no, you can't do that. Yes, we can see withdrawals, but primarily it still is holding its ground, and I'll still stick by it at the moment. There's no reason why. I can't see anything else why it would. I'll just go right across here, trying to justify why it struggles. We can see we go right across. That's its previous high. We can see it's trying to struggle from its previous high, but if it manages to succeed and goes through that, I'd be looking at that target there. I can't see it any other way. Let's look at the monthly again. Yep, that's just its previous highs, and that's what we added on the weekly also. So on the daily, wrong. I've got the wrong line. Sorry. Like so. Is it doing the same here? Clone. Is it a flag? You need to wait and see. But let's have a look at this one first. That's its target. And if this is a flag to the highest body, I'm only trying to estimate it. That's the next target up on the daily. If we clone this line, potentially, that's what it could be. That was SMA. BWP. Haven't looked at this at all. Let's have a look. I guess if you're taking a line like so, you've got a symmetrical triangle. So you can technically go from here to there. Oops, what did I do there? Must have been already clicked once. And the next one, same thing, just with a little bit of variation. Well, it's already there. There's nothing you can do about that. Is this going to be a bearish flag, I guess, is the question. That's what you have to watch now on a weekly. That's what we were looking at. That's what we're looking at. Is it going to reverse in that area there? Again, we need to watch what's going to happen here. Go to the daily. The line could be long here. It also could be long there. Let's see what happens. So what we're seeing here is a triangle, and we're going to have to be patient and see which way it's going to break. Is it going to break on the upside, or is it going to break on the downside? And that's all we can add to this at the moment. We've got potentials both ways, so we're going to have to let it show us the way. NCM. What a mixed bag. Typical from gold, isn't it? Just to show it more clearly. Potential head and shoulders, stopped, neckline. There really is nothing there. What else can we look at? Weekly. That was the original head and shoulders. In the channel. It's still in the channel. In this case, it's at the bottom of the channel. Some weeks was at the top of the channel. And you really can't add anything in to see what's going to happen next. You'll have to wait and see. There's nothing there that tells it's going to go to the upside, but you would expect, if it's bouncing from the bottom of the channel, we're back at the bottom of the channel, you probably could expect another upswing. But you'd want to see a confirmation pattern to the upswing. We don't see it yet. If you were to trade that, if you went long there, you'll have to put a cut loss underneath this line. So I'd watch very carefully on that score. We're doing that. This line can be technically lowered a bit more, just to there, at the bottom of that. There it is there. And I really don't have anything else. It's mess. We say this line is validated. You got your touch, even though we're a bit below, a bit above, but it's managed to hold its ground. And on top here, we've got a touch. So, it's basically an ascending triangle. So there's nothing more you can even add to this one. I guess what you got to look at, are you an investor or are you a trader? If I was a trader, I certainly would not be going long yet on this thing here. There's nothing there to say, you got a clear picture to go for it. Would I go short? Well, it's an ascending triangle, and it suggests that even though, of course, they can break to the downside, but the suggestion is it should go up, an ascending triangle. If I was to trade this to the upside, I'd be looking for, let's say, I drop it to a 60-minute or 180-minute and see if I can get a bullish flag, something bullish out of this in order to say it's breaking to the upside. If I don't, I leave it alone. And that's how you got to look at it. NST. Again, NST, rising wedge. But mind you, I've got 3 touches. 1, 2, 3. Okay, that's it. 3 touches. On the top, I've got 1, 2, and I'm in the middle. So, yeah, okay, I can say I'm in a rising wedge, but there's nothing there to say, yep, this is getting ready to go down now. Okay, you can probably, you might be able to, let me have a look at this. Okay. So this is, again, like a sandwich in between. And what that basically does at the moment, brings this to a closer point. That's all it does, nothing else. Saying, you know what, don't look it to the top, just look at the inside. Just notice that just then, actually. And it's not bad for a sandwich. Look, here it is there. There's the bottom of that. There's the top. There's the top. Here's the top again. So there's no reason to deny its accuracy. It's not too bad. Just have a drink of water. Let's have a look at the weekly. Okay. In fact, I actually drew this line, but I didn't take it all the way. That's this line here. So you can technically take it all the way to here, which I didn't do before for some reason, but there you go. It's still okay there. You can go this a bit lower, like so. Okay, so here it is there, and it looks nicer on the monthly, of course, but anyway, you can see on this card, you can see it's actually right on the top, and a price target was hit. Now, else on the weekly, is this going to be a bearish flag? I don't know yet. These two bars, you know, from the bottom of the third here. Let's see if it does anything on the daily for a moment, but it's pretty small at the moment, but it could be. Let's have a look in the daily. Here's the daily. Let's clone that. Well, if this breaks to the downside, we certainly have a downside target. Now, this line here, look, yep, it can be right on the bodies, but it can also go on the tails. It can go a bit lower. So I wish actually maybe we should devise another trend line that has a shadow with it. You know, you put a, you know, from the line, from its price, you know, 0.2% above and 0.2, you know, shade it so you know if it comes in within this shaded area. Actually, that's not a bad idea. I think I'll ask someone to do that on the new one. So you know you're within the shaded area, anywhere within the shaded point. So looking at this, an ST, basically, if this breaks to the downside, we got to say we got a downward pressure target there. Okay, so from my perspective, I'd say, you know, wait and see. But if it breaks, I would only look to trade it to this level. However, usually we'll consolidate in something like that. Unless you clean it, see through, go there, then by all means. But remember, this red line also is the secondary brick line. So you got that one first, second is that one. So anywhere in there, personally, I'd start taking money off the table if I was short. Okay. HEG. Now, folks, you can see the daily. I really can't do anything with that. Weekly, I don't know. I don't think so. Let's look at the monthly. You can't really do much. However, I mean, did I grab the wrong line? Sorry about that. Can we clone this? Let's have a look. We can clone this. Yep. So basically, we are in a channel, very slow moving channel. And can we... Consolidation. And if we extend that channel, it says it really should go a bit lower based on the consolidation of the channel. And that's all we can add to this. I really can't add anything else. There's nothing I can do on the weekly. It really is bugger all other than what I just did with the parallel lines just here. That's all you can do. There's nothing else. It'll be the same target. And someone asked for SGH. Then I'll do the Aussie dollar. What can you do? Broaden information. As an accelerated trend. Look, you've got a flag here. Now, just want to make a point. When you've got a flag and you've got a break, and it's quite a large one, as you can see, this is a huge, you can't take the flag from up here, okay? You take it from the break. So, there, and break. And there's your target. And you have like so. Now this, if this close to the upside and a new candle starts to move up because it's not very clean, you can have a target from here to there, back to around $3.50. Let's see if the daily gives us a better result. Well, we hope it gives us a better result. Like so. It won't be as big as the other one, but it's not too bad. There. Hopefully, look, close the gap. That's the next one. These are the targets off the daily. Okay. Aussie dollar. AUD equals. And we already gone for an hour and 46 minutes, folks. You really make me work today. Let's have a look on the monthly. Again, look, I keep saying I think the dollar has bottomed out, at least for the next 3 to 4 months. Now, maybe altogether it might be fully bottomed out, but at the end of the day, this is what we're looking at, okay? We're seeing consolidation here. It broke through this main trend. However, there's your sandwich that I did last time. That's where the intersections are on a parallel line, also on a parallel line. Again, this is also a brick wall, unfortunately, because of it. Let's have a closer look at the weekly. This does not give us any more than that. We're seeing consolidation. Okay, we can only consider this as one touch, two touch, one touch, two touch, three touch. let me just zoom in a bit. I'll get rid of this red line to make it a bit more clear, because it's past, I don't think it's valid anymore. Zoom in. Where are you, my zoom? And as we can see, we are interesting time, isn't it? Now, this breaks on the upside, which personally I hope he does. I know personally I want to buy something that's going to cost X amount of US dollars. I won't say what, but I want to get something, and I'd like to see the Aussie dollar around the 76 to 78 cents. I'm hoping it actually see it up here as a, from now till say January, February sometime. Now, that might be wishful thinking, and you're probably having a good chuckle, but it actually can. Now, in other words, if it breaks this, and let's say they fail to put the interest rates in the US in the way the economy is, potentially can be. If they fail to put the interest rates up in the US, we are potentially going click, click. I'll just estimate it. If I can get around there, I would be laughing. Okay, so I want to spend a bit, just over around 100,000 US dollars. So it'd be nice if I have to spend 100,000. It'll reduce my Aussie exposure. So if I get around there, it's quite comfortable for me. At the moment, I wouldn't be spending the money. So that's the way I'm looking at it. Now, I'm not trying to say this is wishful thinking. Let's have a close analysis, but you can see the pattern that it's making. Here we are, the low. This is, again, the high. A higher low, a higher high, a higher low. I'm looking for a higher high. It started it. So let's see if it follows through. And it is on a weekly, which makes it more solid. However, if it breaks on the downside, then I have to break, target to the downside. But all signs are, I think the US dollar has topped out for a little bit, at least anyway. Let's have a look on a daily basis. And let's have a look at it from this perspective. We can see this is a bullish flag, okay? Let's just redraw it. It's already broken to the upside today. So as long as it closes like that today, I've got a bullish flag. So if I go from down here to the top here, to its breakout, I'm at the 72 mark. Okay, if I bring this line lower, this will be the interesting one there, you see. I'm right at that point now. What does it do from there? So if I then get momentum from there, looking good. So it started its consolidation phase. So if it does that and continues, and especially if they fail to put interest rates again in the US, I reckon the Aussie dollar is going to rally nicely. There's no point in me going to an intraday on this because, look, we already got an up target. We can see it's going to be up to the 72 odd mark. So if you do a 360 or 180 minute, you're going to get a pattern that will give you upside anyway. So Aussie dollar, at least for the short term, I'm looking at upside, as you can see from there. Okay, now folks, that's pretty much my entire list. What I will do a webinar Thursday fortnight. I'm not going to be available. Look, I get occasionally some emails that I respond to and phone calls. It's going to be difficult for me next week. I'm actually taking a 6-day break, my first break, real break, in probably 3.5, 4 years. So I'm disappearing to some tropical island, I won't say where, and having a 6-day break. So I made sure there is no internet connection or phone calls I can be contacted on, just letting everybody know. But I do wish you all the very, very best in your trading. If you need anything, the usual way, I can be contacted, and if I can do something for it, I will. But just remember, it's not personal advice. It's always general investment advice. I hope today's been helpful for you. And again, I apologize. We had to miss out a week, unfortunately, due to computer problems. I literally got another laptop today and trying to resolve another problem. Besides having my desktop problems, my laptop also failed, and I managed to get another one, and I'm just configuring it at the moment. So hopefully, as a backup, I can use another laptop in the future. Like I said, I hope it's all been worthwhile for you. I apologize again. I really do wish you the very best in your trading, and look forward to talking to you again in 2 weeks' time. Thank you and good evening.